everyone, it's Hannah and today I'm going to show you how to make a tattoo choker. It's very 90s. I was a child of the 90s. Well, I was born in 1990, so I guess I wasn't really a child of the 90s as I was 10 when the year 2000 came along. It annoys me when people born in 93 say they were a child of the 90s because you weren't. Anyway, 90s fashion has come back into trend. The whole grunge thing seems to be quite big at the minute, so I decided to hop on a bandwagon and I'm showing you how to make these. In the video I will be showing you how to make a bracelet just because it's a little bit easier to do, and I've decided to add beads onto my choker and bracelet just because it's a little bit different from what other people have done and I like being a little bit different. And I remember when I had these first time round, they had beads on. Some of them had beads on and the ones that I had beads on, and I have beads. I'm going to stop saying beads, I'm saying it a bit too much. So without further delay, let's get into the tutorial. So to make a tattoo choker, you are going to need some elastic cord. I've got Stretch Magic in 0.7mm diameter. I've seen a lot of people make these using 1mm diameter, and for me, I think it's just a bit too thick, so I quite like the 0.7. If you want to add beads, you are going to need some size 8 seed beads. You can use bigger if you want. Size 8 is quite a good size. The whole size is big enough to fit on the elastic, and you just need some of these. There's no exact quantity. And if you'd like, you can use some size 3 crimp tubes to finish it off, or you can just tie a knot, and I will show you the knot, which is best used with the Stretch Magic. And if you are using the crimp tubes, you're going to need some chain nose pliers. These pliers are just ones that are flat on the inside so you don't dent the crimp tubes at all. And then obviously you're going to need a pair of scissors. Okay, so today I'm going to be making a bracelet, but for a choker length you are going to need about 1.5 meters of the Stretch Magic, and for the bracelet I used about 80 centimeters or so. It's always best to use more than less of the elastic because it's far easier to cut off excess than it is to add it on, and to be fair, I can't even think how you'd be able to add more onto this. So all I've done is I've folded my cord in half and I've taped it to the table. I've seen a lot of people use bulldog clips or clipboards to do it, but I happen to have washi tape everywhere, so washi tape it is. So what you need to do is you need to make a backwards 4 shape with the straight cord over the top of the horizontal cord, and you take your end and all you do is you pop it through the loop of the backwards 4 you've created, and it does twiddle and twist, but it's okay. Then you just pull that upwards to the top and pull the elastic taut again. And what it's going to want to do is it's going to want to do this. So you just need to make sure that you're holding the elastic that you're knotting over taut while you do it. And then for the other side, you're making a 4 shape, not a backwards 4 shape, but a 4 shape. And once again, going underneath the straight cord. Then you're taking your end and you're popping it through the loop you created. And pulling it upwards. And that is it. If you don't want to add beads, that is all you have to do. You just keep tying these knots, making backwards 4 shape underneath the vertical one and popping your end through. And then pulling it upwards. Now, if you'd like to add beads, which I do, I have many beads and it's always good to use them. What I personally think, obviously, is a matter of opinion, is good spacing is every third. So I've tied 1, 2, 3. I'll bring over my beads, which I've popped on a duster. For those of you who haven't seen my videos before, I like to pop my beads on a duster because then they won't roll everywhere. And it is a clean duster, don't worry. Anyway, so I've tied 1, 2, 3, and so now it's time to tie a knot with the left-hand thread, or left-hand cord even. So I'm going to pop on a bead onto the left-hand cord, like so. Scoot it down to the end, and at this point I like to pop it inside the loop, like that, and then I'm tying my next loop with the left-hand cord. So underneath the elastic and then through the loop. And so that's one. And the right hand side. So 1, 2, 3, perfect. And so now it's time to knot it on the right hand cord. So I'm going to add another bead. And I like 3 loops in between, because then the beads are alternating and they're not all on one side. And I don't know, I like that it's regular. I mean, the beads can obviously move up and down quite easily, but that's fine, it happens. Anyway, what you'll now need to do is you just need to keep tying these loops until you have a bracelet or choker long enough to fit around your neck. And don't forget that if you're having it around your neck, it needs to be able to stretch over your head. So my bracelet is now long enough to fit around my wrist, and as you can see, it all bunches up quite small, but that's fine. So what I'm going to do is I've taken the washi tape off, and very carefully, you don't want to let go, otherwise it will all go everywhere. So you're going to thread one end of your elastic through the loop that at the top, and then I'm going to tie something called a surgeon's knot. And that is, you tie a normal knot like that, and instead of pulling that tight, you loop the end back through again, and you pull it tight, and then you just tie a normal knot over the top of that. And you pull it nice and tight. Then what I recommend doing is grabbing some clear nail varnish or super glue and putting a blob of that onto the knot so it doesn't all come undone. So I just went to grab my clear nail varnish because I'm clever and wasn't organised. And I'm just going to put a small dollop of it on the knot, making sure that it's nice and secure before I trim the ends off. I'm going to wait for it to be completely dry. If you want to use a crimp tube, like I finished off my choker here, what I think crimp tubes are a little more secure, especially if something's going to be stretching over your head. But if you don't have access to crimp tubes, a knot is perfectly fine. Crimp tubes just give it a bit more of a professional finish. So what you'll need to do, and I'm just going to use a spare bit of elastic to demonstrate this. Imagine this is the end of the elastic, end of your bracelet in half like this, and then you thread the 2 ends through the loop at the top like you would if you were tying the knot, and then you pop on your crimp bead tube like that. So I've managed to thread the other end through, and then you gently pull so your crimp tube scoots down to wherever you need it to be. You grab your chain nose pliers and you just squash that flat. And then that's that. As you can see here, you trim off any excess and that's not coming undone at all. So the glue to my bracelet has completely dried. I'm just going to grab my scissors and trim off the excess. And now you have a bracelet ready to wear. And because it is so stretchy, you don't need any clasps or anything. And yeah, I'm able to fit that on my wrist, no problem, over the top of my hand. So thank you for watching how to make a choker. And I hope that you yourself decide to make some. Don't forget to check out the description for any relevant information that I think you might find useful, like where I got my bits from and stuff like that, really. Also in the description I will pop a link to all of my relevant social media, such as Twitter. I tweet quite a lot, so it's worth following me on there, and Facebook and Instagram and all sorts. Speaking of Instagram, if you do decide to make a choker or bracelet using this technique, don't forget to post your picture of it on Instagram with the hashtag #thecornerofcraft so I can see what you have made using my tutorial. Finally, don't forget to give this video a big thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and I post a new video on a Thursday and on a Sunday, so hit subscribe because you'll see a new video from me twice a week, which is pretty cool. So I shall see you all on Sunday for my next video. Bye!